finally getting around to doing a VR. This is a video response to Jonathan Dailey's last 10 decks video. I've seen this done by countless other tower tubers, and I thought finally time for me to take part in a VR. So, a little sneak peek at the stash. Let's get started. Yeah, unfortunately, I've not kept the best records, so hopefully I'm going to be doing this in the correct order. I believe so. I tend to be pretty selective about what I purchase. I think this will probably reach back into last October, just because, I tend not to buy too much, maybe like about a deck a month. Just one caveat, I'm only going to count decks that I received. I have several decks on order that I'm waiting for, whether they were kickstarters or pre-orders. So there's a few things out there. I'll put a link to purchase. I believe everything I'm going to show is available at least for pre-order. In some instances, there's like a new edition or whatever coming out. Some of these are kickstarters. But yeah, no, everything should be available. The 10 decks I'm going to show consist of a variety of either indie decks, mass market decks. Some are Kickstarters, some are pre-orders, some are just available anywhere. I'm going to, I'll link, as I said, I'll link everything. Note that any of the links that I have that are Amazon links or affiliate links, they really help out. They don't change the price at all, but I will get a small percentage. All right, without further ado, I guess let's get started. I'm going to work my way backwards from the most recent purchase, and that is the Earth Magic deck. This is something I've wanted for a while. I ended up getting the book too. Really nice. I still have to make my way through this. I really haven't used the deck too much yet. It literally just came in about a week ago. So, I'll just do a quick... I don't want to make this video too long, so I will just do a quick glance at some of the decks. So, most of these should probably be shuffled, so just note that. So, overall, it's a very nice deck. It's in one of my favorite card stocks. It's the, I think it's the same manufacturer that makes the Uzi cards, like Supra and Pagan Otherworlds. I absolutely love this card stock. It's so light. Everything just moves around so nicely. Sometimes a little bit too nicely, but it's really nice. Really enjoy a lot of the artwork on this deck. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really used it, so I can't speak too much of its usage at the moment. I will get onto that, and maybe I'll do a video on it. Maybe not. I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of videos about this out there. This seems to be a very popular deck with people. So, but this was my number 10. So. Next would be the Kickstarter from Little Dark Arts. That was for the Little Cryptid Oracle. This is a cute little deck. I love the tin that it comes in. I will say, when it first came in, I was a little disappointed with the card stock. I felt it was really stiff, and it still is. It's a very... I forgot what the GSM is on it, but it's very stiff. It's gotten better as I've used it, and it was a little hard to shuffle at first. It's really great for overhand now, especially. But it was very hard to do riffle shuffling. It's real hard to. Yeah, it's so stiff. It's gonna take a little bit of breaking in, definitely. But no, it comes with at least a Kickstarter that I got. I don't remember if it was for everyone, which levels, but there's a little field guide. I think this may be available to purchase on their site. Still, I am not 100% sure, but really cute, really good. I will say there's some. The only complaint that I had, and I was talking to somebody else about this too, is sometimes the font, like the H, is a little hard to read sometimes. Like this is Hopkinsville Goblin, but because the crossbar in it is so high, it's very hard to read, and sometimes you have to second guess it, especially in some of the words that have a harder pronunciation, that I'm not, that you're not necessarily familiar with, but still really great. It's a lot of fun. I'll show a couple of these really quick. So, I also found that like when I first got it, the cards were sticking to each other a bit, but again, just using them, yeah, see, still using them, they did come up a little bit better. Here's Flatwoods Monster. Really like the artwork on it. It's fun. Jeff. There's some nice little cards. I was very surprised it did an interview with the deck, and there was a really good reading with it, I thought, and I've used it a few times. Generally, I tend to use oracles more as like clarifiers, but this I was surprised at some of the readings that I was using this for. It really resonated well with me, so definitely going to be using this more and more. Okay, so next up is seems to be everybody's favorite right now, the Terra Volatile, and the expansion pack. This was released by Credo Quia Absurdum. This is the second edition that had come out in the beginning of the year. I was lucky enough to get in on that. It's sold out now, but they are re-releasing it, the third edition, which will be, I think, exactly the same as this. And that will be coming out, I believe, in September, along with the absolutely beautiful looking hardcover book. I did place an order for that, and it just looks absolutely amazing. I highly recommend. They have a really great website with all the card definitions and everything. But once they started showing pictures of the book, I was like, I definitely need to get it. It's just too good. It's absolutely gorgeous. But here is the deck. It's a great deck. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite decks right now. It's got some really, really nice artwork. There's a lot of depth to the imagery. There's a lot going on. I found it reads really well. There's just some absolutely gorgeous artwork in this. I love the colors. My only argument would be that it's a little dark sometimes in the printing if you don't have a lot of light going, but it doesn't really hold it up too much. There's a lot of options with this deck. They gave you a number of different alternative cards, and then when you have the expansion pack, there's a whole second suit. There's a whole second set of majors, if I remember correctly. And it's just, I haven't really used it too much yet. But you also have a whole other suit in this deck. vessels, which definitely leans a little bit more alchemical. Some beautiful, beautiful artwork. Highly recommend this deck. Again, it's a great card stock. Beautiful backs. You can pre-order it now. I definitely recommend doing it. Everybody who gets this deck loves it. I don't think I've heard anybody really say anything negative about it. Even people that aren't buying it are like, I'm not buying it, but I should. So, and I don't know how. I'm assuming they'll keep releasing it for a little bit, but I don't know. So I would say get it on the third one if you can. Like I said, the pre-orders are available right now. I don't know how long that's running. I would assume that it's not going to ship until the September timeframe when the book is supposed to come out, but who knows? All right, so next is another favorite of mine right now. This deck I love using. This is the Somnia Tarot by Nicholas Bruno. I absolutely adore this deck. I am a huge fan of it. For those who don't know, I went to school for photography, actually. It's not what I do as a living, but that was what I had initially intended to do before I fell into the corporate world. But I don't tend to like a lot of photography decks. I find them to be very snapshotty. We live in a weird world now where with digital photography there's a lot of there's a lot of easy tools now to make technically good photos, and even just our phones that we carry around in our pockets are just amazing cameras now. But there's still, I think, there's something to good fine art photography that people don't always have, and I don't know what it is, but I know it when I see it. It's one of those things. And this deck just really resonated with me. I think the imagery is great. It's it's very good. It sticks for the most part to the RWS framework. It does stray a little bit here and there on certain pictures, but it really still works. Some great imagery. Just got an email yesterday, I believe, that Nicholas Bruno is working on a Oracle deck. Same style of photography, so it should be really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. It's just, I know a lot of people like this deck, but I know there's a fair amount of people out there that do react negatively to some of the imagery. It can be a little dark at times. I think the hooded figures definitely get a reaction out of people. To me, it has an extremely occult feel to it. It's beautiful work. Some of it is kind of playful, even like with the Page of Cups. With this diving helmet. There's just some really nice imagery in it. I don't want to stick too long on this, so highly recommend it. This is one of my favorites right now. I highly recommend it. And the illustrated version is up for pre-order right now. It's pretty cool, so you can get that. Okay, up next is the Soul Tower deck. It's hard to get out of the bag. There we go. This is put out by Cocarina. This was a Kickstarter. I believe you can get it on their site still. I think last I checked it was still available. Yeah, this is an interesting deck. I went back and forth on this deck if I was going to get it or not. Something about it really called to me. I love the colors used. The gilding is just absolutely amazing. That shine is crazy. It's got foiling on the backs. The backs just beautiful, like Art Deco style to them. Cardstock is really nice. It's very light and it's bendy, but like bouncy. Yeah, I really liked it. It's an interesting deck for me because I got the Kickstarter. I really did enjoy it. When I got it, I liked the imagery of it. I liked what was going on, but it was tough for me to read. So I will be quite frank and say I have not read much with this because I tend to read a lot more intuitively than just strictly going by the meanings of the decks, and I find this deck is a little hard for me to do that with. When you look at it, and I believe I did another video on this deck at some point, but it's one of these decks that I think if I worked with it more, I would really probably enjoy it a lot. I'm not going to get rid of this by any means, because I do feel like eventually it will click. I have a couple decks like that I just don't use too much, but I do enjoy looking at them and having them. But I feel like the more you look at it, the more you start to see some of the imagery that makes sense within, again, it's basing it more around RWS. Yeah. But like all Cocarina stuff, it's an absolutely beautiful deck. The quality is amazing. And yeah, I mean, if you are into this look and feel, I definitely highly recommend checking it out. They just, I think, announced a new deck that's going up on Kickstarter. Or for pre-order, I can't remember. But definitely recommend looking for it. And I'll, as with everything else, links will be below. Okay. So, another deck. Again, I'm going to talk about great quality. This is the Tarot de Ambiguïté. This was put out by Artisan Tarot, drawn by Alejandro Arrazan, who is one of the nicest decorators that I've ever talked to. He does some beautiful, beautiful artwork. This is a really interesting deck. I have a whole video on it, so I definitely recommend checking it out. When I got this deck in, I used it just nonstop. It's a modern take on the Tarot de Marseille. You'll recognize a lot of imagery. It's got a lot of blood and dismemberment happening in it. Nothing really too graphic. It's still in a playful style, but a very it's an interesting deck. I don't want to go too far into this, but I found it very interesting to read with. In fact, I found that I actually like stopped using all my other cards for a while and was only reading with this deck for a bit. And for that reason, I put it aside, and I haven't really been using it too much. It's a great deck. I definitely recommend it to people. It's got the same great quality that Artisan Tarot always has in their decks. I honestly would buy every one of their decks if I could, and probably will. I have a couple of their decks right now. I have the Dodal and this, and I have their Noble as well. So they're just fun decks. I really like their approach of restoration of classic decks, but new drawings of it, so it's clean and modern. While still holding on to that old feel. So I really like what they do. This was all new artwork that Alejandro did. He's got a number of things, I think, in the works right now, so keep an eye out for him. You just follow him on Instagram if you can. We're getting near the end soon. So this is the Spooky Tarot. This was another Kickstarter that I got. This is put out by Ryan Caskey, who goes by the Spooky King online. It's got a little white book with it. Really nice deck. Again, I have another video on this I can link to below. But I really do enjoy this deck. I love the color of it. I love the vintage feel of it. It's got an old vintage feel that just appeals to my nostalgia for childhood and stuff. I love the gilding. It's such a sickly green color. Really nice. I love the feel of the cards. They're very matte finish. But really, really good. This is... Yeah. So this came out... like I said, it was a Kickstarter, and I think it finally became available around late October last year, and shipped around then. I think, if I remember correctly, it came right after Halloween, but it's spooky season all year round, isn't it? So who cares? My favorite suit in this is definitely the cat suit. It's just really just fun deck, fun imagery. Reads really well. I mean, honestly, I bought this with, not sure how I was going to read with it. And it looks like I haven't shuffled it, so let me just jump around to a couple different cards to show you. Okay, so it is somewhat shuffled. It's really, really nice. It has a comic booky feel, like a vintage pulpy feel. At the same time, it feels like old Halloween costume packaging. Some fun, just fun. I really love the colors. I love the muted style that's used here. It's just a great deck. It is still available, I believe, on his Etsy shop. I will double check that and put the link below. But it's a fun deck. I definitely recommend it if you like the art, and support these artists out there. There's people putting out some really inventive decks that are just new takes on things that I really appreciate, and these backs are just gorgeous. I think now this is probably the first mass market, I believe, that shows up here. This is the Woodland Wardens Oracle deck by Jessica Rue. This is a cool little deck. You know, I got this because it was my wife, I think, follows her on Instagram, and you know, is a big fan of her illustrations. I really something about these cards really kind of stood out to me. It's really nice. It's she does a good job pairing an animal with a type of flower or plant. You know, they're fun. Some fun pictures, some pretty dark pictures at times too. But really, just really nice imagery. It's a great cat. You know, this card in particular made me go, oh, you know, this will be a great deck to work with, to pair it up with like the Oak Ash and Thorn or anything like that. And it does work really well. Like I said, I think previously in this video, I might have said that I don't really work too much straight with oracles. I'll usually use them as like clarifiers, as in part of a reading. Maybe like a daily pull or something, but I really liked the way that this works, especially with the Oak Ash and Thorn decks. Honestly, any of the three trees tarot decks work really well with this. You know, really nice imagery. This deck can be picked up for like really cheap. You know, on Amazon. I'll put the link below. It goes in and out of stock, I will say, which can be a little bit frustrating. I know when I first was going to get it, I had put it on my wish list, or I put it in my cart, and you know, I didn't purchase it right away, and then I came back and it was already sold out, and then I had to wait a little bit, and it did eventually show back up, but you know, just keep an eye out. I don't believe there's really like a limited nature to it, but I guess they don't print huge batches of it. But yeah, it's really nice, you know, 2-piece box. It's sturdy. Yeah, really like it. It's a fun deck. So next to last, this is Tarot Cats by Anna Wan. I really want to do a full video on this because I don't think there's enough appreciation out there for this deck. This is a really great deck. It comes with a little white book as well. This is put out by Fournier. Really fun deck. I really like this. Yeah, I'm a huge cat person. I love cats. I tend to not like a lot of animal decks, as I said, but there's a good amount of cat tarot decks out there, but I don't really have too many of them because I just don't resonate with them, or they don't resonate with me. But this deck really stood out. You know, I think the backs are fun, but they're not like the best. I think they honestly do a little bit of a disservice to the fronts of the cards. What I like about this deck is that there's a creepy vibe to it that I you know, it's just within her art style that I really like. It's playful, you know, there's definitely some whimsy, but there's just some creep to it that I just really like. Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic. I just don't see enough love for this deck online. It's frustrating. Anna Wan is a Madrid-based artist, I believe. I don't know if she has any other tarot decks. I really need to do more research on her. But like I said, I want to do a full video on this at some point, and I probably will. But yeah, I mean, look at that Hermit card. That's great. Again, this is easily accessible on Amazon or anywhere like that. Definitely definitely recommend this deck. It's a good little size. It's really easy to shuffle. It's really good quality card stock. Surprisingly for a mass market deck. Definitely recommend it. Okay, last but by no means least is the Supra Oracle. This was put out by Usi. I also have the book for this, though I did not bring it over to the table, so sorry about that. I would show it, but I don't have. It's very similar to the. Yeah, it's very similar in size to the Earth Magic book. So it's a little frustrating that it's a fairly small size format and the price is a little high. But honestly, with this deck especially, I do feel like it's an important part of it. So even with the price of the deck and the book, I think it's worthwhile to purchase. I really do enjoy this. I've said this before, but if I had to give up every Oracle deck and only work with one, this would be the one. I love the imagery, like engravings of it are just beautiful. There's I like the imagery. I like the wording with it. I mean, even the nothing card is great. They're just really, really, really nice cards. I mean, the hidden, just absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend this deck. Honestly, I like every deck that Usi puts out is really nice. I still need to pick up my own copy of the Pagan Otherworlds. That's a really nice deck too. So, yeah, no, I mean, it's expensive to get both the book and the deck, but I highly recommend it. And pro tip: open it from the bottom. You don't rip the seal that Uzi puts on their packaging. But yeah, it's a really nice deck. Highly recommend it. I use it all the time as a clarifier for things. I've used it on its own and had really, really liked the readings that I had with it, or even didn't like some of the readings sometimes, but you got to get those. But I do find it very helpful. It's a really nice deck. Really good. Definitely recommend. All right, thank you. That's the last 10 tarot decks that I purchased. Like I said, I have several on order that should be coming soon. Hopefully, I'll do another last 10 decks, and you know, in the next, by the end of the year or something. Like I said, I tend to only buy maybe like one or two a month tops. I try to curate my collection so that I minimize decks that I don't use. I think overall I probably only have somewhere in the vicinity of like 50 or 60 decks. I don't get too crazy. I mean, there's decks that I want that I get, but I talk myself out of. And sometimes I regret that, sometimes I don't. But I really don't have any decks that I regret getting. So, that's a good thing, in my opinion. I pretty much use, I would say, like 95% of my decks. There's a few. And that might be a good video idea to do one day, is the decks that I don't use. So I'm going to write that one down. Try to remember to do that. Because I have a few decks, and there's reasons why I don't use them, and none of them are really earth-shattering, but I think it's I think it's a topic worth talking about, because I feel like people don't I think people get frustrated that certain decks don't work for them, or that they don't work well with certain decks. It's just, but it is what it is. And sometimes these are extremely popular decks that everybody likes using, for the most part. But if it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate with you, and that's not a bad thing. So it's good that you can recognize that, and and hopefully it'll help your buying habits in the future. So you don't go overboard. But obviously, do what you want, buy what you want, whatever makes you happy. All right, see you next time.